Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to the Smash Factor Week 31 on the 2022-2023 PGA Tour, the Memorial, hosted by Mr. Nicholas, a elevated event, an invitational as well. So we will only have 120 guys at most. If you get a withdrawal later or something like that, I do not believe they will replace them up to a certain point. Loaded field, almost all the big boys are here, just like we've had all year. With the elevated events, then we get RBC next week and then the U.S. Open. So nice little stretch of golf here. Looking forward to this week. A lot of interesting storylines, especially with some of the guys up top to kind of shift through, and some of the pricing lends itself to is it too good for people to go certain players just because could be super low owned. Injury storylines can make some guys low owned. Recent golf, Rory type stuff can make guys low owned. So excited to break it all down. Be out mid-afternoon Tuesday. This is basically lunch hour for me. Obviously, spent most of the day yesterday with the family and everything for the holiday. Took little man out golfing in the morning. He's getting pretty into it. Looking forward to his summer league this year. You know, overall last week was just okay, and then it got really good. Just kind of a few things going, but DFS-wise, it was a horrible main slate. Still only did the 3 lineups. I didn't do any MME stuff, and they all were done, you know, before at the cut. Sung Jae and Cam Davis both missed at +2. And there was one more in there that missed at +2 or +3, and all 3 of them horrible, like last 4 or 5 holes to miss the cut. So pretty much did that in there. Player pool was okay. Outside of that, just, you know, you had to have 6 of 6 to kind of compete. Nothing too great up there. I had a few flirt with Sunday, but wasn't going to get there. Round 4 was awesome. Had, I think, $420 into 5,500, including a 3-3-3-3 ticket. So that was a good start. Get a little U.S. Open. Definitely cover the week overall. Betting, I haven't done the matchups yet. No outright or first round leader. We did have the Carson Young top 20 bet that missed at the last minute. He goes to T21. So that was a little unfortunate. But you know, all in all, it was just an okay week. There were some spots, you know, prize pick, just like basically round 2, round 3, I just couldn't get anything right. It was just horrible. I just had horrible showdown thoughts, prize picks, you know, just couldn't put it all together. But luckily, you know, still the process and everything is round in to have a pretty good round 4. If you'd like to come join the site right now, link is in the description. We got the PGA sweats rolling last week. We unloaded some more features onto the model builder this morning, so that those look nice. You can now build your player pool straight from the model builder dashboard. Click your guys, fire them straight to the Green Machine. So when you go to Green Machine, your player pool is already built for you from doing, you know, if you're reading articles, all that kind of stuff. You got the dashboard pulled up. You can send those guys straight to your pool. So that's a cool feature, and more coming over the next, you know, few weeks as we get towards the U.S. Open. I will have the $200 single entry winner at the end of the pod. Got that drawn this morning. And we'll probably, you know, do something for the U.S. Open for sure. Listener League winner last week, Ken Podad. I think this was his first win this year, but he has won our contest before. 409.5 points. Scheffler, Rose, Seabez, Griot, Bramlett, and Eckroth. Pretty solid lineup. I'm sure he did well in some other contests that he may have had those in. Listener League link for this week is in the description. Hop in now. Newer payout structure. Trying to build it up for the U.S. Open. this year. This week, obviously at Murfield Village for the Memorial, par 72, 75, almost 7,600 yards, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. It'll be a tough track. It always is. Thicker rough, firm, quick, bent greens, tough around the green if you miss the green. Ever since the big redo 2020 on, those 3 years have played pretty tough, but they're similar to some of the years before. But the Cantley year, obviously he shot 19 under, and Jack was already going to redo it anyways to make it just even more tougher. The weather probably could make it, advantageous for the golfers at times, but this week, man, it looks warm, sunny, hot late in the afternoons, very little breeze. I mean, I think they'll make it as tough as they want, and make it probably right around that 10, 11 under mark, could win it. 13 under is won it the last 2 years, but Horschel was the only one to get above 9 under was second place. So he won by 4 strokes. The rest of the field was single digits. I think I have to go back and look, but plus probably was in the top 30 still. So Cantley won it 2 years ago, minus 13 in the playoff over Morikawa, and then Rahm 3 years ago, minus 9 by 3 strokes over Palmer. Do remember the year Cantley won it, Rahm was up by 7 or 8 strokes and had to withdraw from round 4 with the COVID test positive deal that they were still doing back then. So little asterisk there. Rahm should be back-to-back winners there, and he would have won probably at minus 17, 18, something like that, and would have been a 5 or 6 stroke win if all things stayed equal on Sunday. But can't do nothing about that now. Some other prior winners before the remodel, I already mentioned Cantley, Bryson, Duffner, Matsu, runner-ups, Fowler, Benion, Adam Scott, Palmer. So if you're doing your models and all that kind of stuff, I weighted the last 3 years more heavy than before. You can check and uncheck any years in our PGA model if you don't want to use them or however you'd like to do that. Stats I'm looking for: good drives, good approach, stroke gain irons, bogey avoidance, opportunities inside 18 feet, and par 4 DK scoring. 27 guys have not played this course in the last 6 years, so roughly 90 something have. Salary ranges: we got 5 in the 10K, 7 in the 9K, 11 in the 8K, 29 in the 7K, 69 in the 6K. And I don't think they'll be adding anybody at this point. I can't remember who withdrawed, maybe Mav, and they've already replaced him. But I don't think if anybody withdraws today, I don't think they add anybody, but don't quote me on that for sure. Same Sweet 16 setup, 3 that I like and a bubble boy in each section. Fade of the week, sleeper of the week, some gut feel plays, betting top 5 that pop, and 2 long shots provided by Underdog and Prize Picks. Then one and done, preliminary one and done, and I'll announce the winner of the $200 giveaway, and we will wrap it up for this Tuesday. So starting out like Hatton, 9,300, rates out well. Probably the only asterisk to that would be that he hasn't played it since the renovation, and he only played it once before. 2019, he got a 33rd, and that's it. I don't know. It's been the schedule. He didn't like it. He didn't like a lot of courses, but form and recent form and then stat course fit wise, I mean, he's right up there with a lot of them, and he's cheap. We'll see if he gets super chalky at that price. But typically this year, anytime we've had these loaded fields, all the guys up top, they seem to just spread out, and we get a lot of 14 to 20%, in the 9 and 10Ks. And I don't see, like a Scheffler or Rahm or anybody like that really getting up 30+%. I think it'll still get spread out a little bit. Rory potentially could be lower owned just with the recent performances, but he's played this course, very solid, and his game fits it. So I still don't think it's going to be, horrible by any means. Cantley's my second up. I mean, he's obviously won here twice, asterisk on one of them, but he still would have finished, call it T2, worst case. But, his last 6 years, 35th, 4th, 1st, 32nd, 1st, 3rd. Rates out, extremely well in the scores, plays it well, loves the place. 21st at Wells Fargo, 9th at PGA, 10-5. I like the pricing there. A little $100 off of Rory. That could lead to some ownership for him. All his stats are looking really good. The irons have been a little shaky at times, but recently when you drill down a little bit closer, he's really starting to turn it on again. first in good drives, 9th in bogey avoidance, 3rd in par 4 DK score, and 11th in opportunities at 18 feet. Just 28th in putting, you know. So I like a lot about Cantley this week, and probably just still go there. Xander, similar. Good finishes. He's never really cracked the top 10, but he missed his first cut here, and then 14th, 13th, 11th, 18th. So very solid. That's going to be pushing it at 10-2, you know, to get there. You kind of really want one of those breakout, not breakout, but, you know, top 10 better weeks. But, you know, an 11th here, does that hurt him in a DK deal? Possibly not. He can definitely score, and he can score on the par fives. But he played it so well that I think he's just 1 or 2 shots off from being right there in contention. 2nd at Wells Fargo, 18th at the PGA Championship. So he's coming in pretty good form. 7th in irons, 11th in bogey avoidance, 14th in DK scoring, 12th in putting. Not much to hate there in general, especially with the recent form in the history. At 10-2, I like Xander a lot. Bubble Boy is Scheffler. Mainly is that, you know, I'm surprised he played, you know, this will be his 4th in a row. Literally starting to flirt with some of the, like, you know, I break down at the end of it, you know, the model differences, numbers for myself, nothing out there. I just, you know, the gap between him and number 2 and a lot of stuff I look at is as large as I've seen. You know, that's how well he's striking the ball, you know, tee to green. And 11-3 isn't horrible. You know, pricing, you got Rahm there, $300 less. Could he have, you know, another tough course as well? You know, come PGA Championship, last week was tough. And then this one, that grind and everything would, you know, could fatigue set in. He just kind of, I don't want to say, you know, but he gets like a 20th, and that doesn't do well enough. That would be the only thing. And if he's getting the ownership, if he's just neutrally owned, then I'll go there. But if he's going to be high owned, there's some reasoning there to maybe pass this week. You know, he gets a week off in the U.S. Open, so he'll get some time off. But 22nd here, his debut, and then 3rd in 2021, did not play here last year. So everything looks great. He's going to rank out number 1 for everybody. The only hesitation would just be, you know, if he's high owned, highest priced, could he have a little bit of a letdown week and you take advantage of that? Potentially, but he's still right there, you know, on my list to make the pool for sure. 8K range, Fowler, 8,500. Even when he wasn't playing good golf, he still did pretty decent here. 2nd, 8th, 14th, miscut, 11th, 64th. It's his last 6 years here. Coming in with a good form, a 6th last week, a 14th at Wells Fargo. He did miscut the PGA, you know, 4th in irons, 15th in bogey avoidance, 22nd opportunities, 15th in putting. We know he likes fast, bent greens. Enough to like there. We're just probably ownership will be the only thing to monitor. Does he stay popular in that 8K range? Plenty of options down there. It's kind of a loaded range. Could lean even liking it a little bit over some of the 9K, but does that get popular or not? We'll see, you know, over the next 36 hours, but like him for sure. Si Woo, you know, really good history here. I didn't really realize that until, you know, breaking it all down, but never missed the cut in the last 5 years. A 20, he's actually got better since the renovation. That's one thing I do like when I see that. It's not an end all be all, but a 29th to 41st in the last 3 years, an 18th, 9th, and 13th. So as it's gotten tougher, a little bit different layout, he's actually done better with it. Pretty good form coming in, a 43rd, a 2nd, and a 29th, 7th in good approach, 13th in good drive, 5th opportunities inside 18 feet. Really like Si Woo this week a lot. 8K too, gives you the, you know, maybe gets looked over a little bit. You don't have to, you know, the 7 feels better, 7,900, stuff like that. But, you know, even a little bit of ownership, I don't mind having Si Woo this week. Matsu, this is a little bit of because there's good and bad. He's one of the guys that has not done as well here since the renovation. But last year, remember, we had the whole, I think it was a spray painted driver or whatever issue, and he got DQ'd. And I think he was actually doing well. I did have him last year at that point because I remember being frustrated that he got disqualified. But, you know, he's done super well here. But, you know, 6 years ago, 45th, a 13th, and a 6th. Then after the renovation, miscut, 62nd, then the DQ. Not going to read a whole lot into it. He's starting to come back into form. A 23rd at AT&T, 29th at PGA Championship. You know, more of a, not gut feel, but with the history, the stats, everything, the only asterisk to me would be like, is the redo hurt him or help him? But 8,700, I don't think he gets too much ownership, so I don't mind that. Corey Connors, Bubble Boy, and that's just because I think he will get ownership this week. Got better here almost every year, 65th, 22nd, 53rd, and a 13th last year, 8th at Wells Fargo, 12th at the PGA Championship. Price seems really good. Stat-wise, he's 7th overall for me, 10th in good drives, 9th in opportunities, 10th in par 4 DK. A lot you can like about him this week. I do think he gets ownership. I'm glad he's 83, not 76, because maybe that keeps it down some. Only reason why he's a bubble boy is, does he get too high owned for our liking this week? 7K, go right back to Benyon. Played him last week. Okay week. Didn't have a good Sunday. Finished 21st. 14th at AT&T coming into that. I liked it. He was a core piece last week. Probably the only thing, similar to Matsu. 25th, 2nd, 17th before 2020, and then miscut since then. Now, he was also struggling in golf in general. Remember, he lost his card, had to come back through Korn Ferry and all that. He's playing really good again. 4th in good approach, 14th in irons, 8th in bogey avoidance, 95th in putting, but we know that with Benyon. One thing I will look at is how's his putting been here historically, because that would probably outweigh his overall splits. We do that on the deep dive. So I like Benyon, 7,400. Seabaz, someone I rarely play, but I do like how he's looking this week. Played here twice, 2020, 2021, 22nd and a 37th. So made the cut both times, $7,200. We probably take both of those for sure. Would take the 22nd. Coming in 23rd, miscut 21st. Miscut was at the PGA Championship. Never going to be long off the tee, but certainly can be accurate enough. 32nd in approach, 17 in irons, 12th in bogey avoidance, 15th in par 4 DK, 23rd in putting. So it does come down to the putter sometimes for him, but all those pieces together at $7,200, I think it could be a solid play this week. I'm not as in love with a lot of the 7K like I normally am. I do like some 6K guys. It'll be interesting to see. Preliminary, I have a tighter pool right now that I'm working through in the process, but there are some 7K guys I just don't like at all this week. Third for me, though, in this range is Jaeger, 7K flat. Played him last week, loved him. Made the cut, didn't do much on the weekends. Kind of done that back-to-back now, but never played here. It's not a negative, but, I guess it kind of is. But, 27th, 11th, 50th, 68th coming in, so 4 straight made cuts. Stat-wise, looks really, really good. 9th in the field overall on stats for me. 8th in par 4, 17th in bogey avoidance, 19th in irons, 14th in good approach, 23rd in good drive. So all that is at that price, 7K flat. I like it. I don't, could he get chalky? Maybe, but I don't think so. Bubble boy for me is Rogers. Mixed results here, 67th and 8th and 18th, and then 2 missed cuts the last 2 years. He's been a little up and down as of recent. Miscut, 29th, 57th last week. Didn't have a good weekend last week. But 8th in good drives, 15th in good approach, 30th in bogey avoidance, 56th, so neutral in putting. There's enough there that at that price, he'll be in that next to last pool, decide do I make the cut. Really only reason bubble boy there is got to have someone, and there's some that I'm like, all right, maybe not. Kind of see how the deep dive goes with him. He's the guy I got asterisk to take a deeper look into. So he's on the bubble now, and that's why. 6K, Eric Cole, I'll go back there. He's one that missed the cut late. I think he finished +2 or +3 with a bad back 9. Liked him last week. I'll go back to him this week. Hasn't played here. I get that, but, pretty good form coming in. Miscut 23rd, 15th miscut, but both of miscuts, I think he was right on the edge. I know he was last week. 15th in irons, 20th in bogey avoidance, 44th in approach, 17th in par 4, 40th in putting. Nothing really great that sticks out there, but again, anybody in the 6K range, you're going to have negatives that you're looking through, but I just like his grit in general, and this is going to be a tough course where, if you're 4 or 5 under going into the Sunday, you're going to be probably right there for the most part, at least a high finish potential, and at that price, that's all we need from him. Sam Stevens, like him a lot this week, 6,500. He has not played here. 4 straight made cuts for him as well. 47th, 34, 72nd, and 29th last week. 20th in good drives, 10th in approach, 27th in irons, 25th in par 4 DK scoring. Mid-pack in putting, a little worse actually than mid-pack, so that's probably be the only kind of negative, but having that good drive and good approach numbers, in the recent form, he's 22nd in the field, are all strong enough for me, especially at $6,500. Adam Svensson, $6,900. Played here last year for the first time, made the cut, 45th overall, 27th at Wells, 40th at the PGA Championship. Really good numbers. Really comes down to irons for him. Can he get a decently good iron week going where he's not missing greens? And and let that putter, help him. He's 12th in good drives, 100th in good approach. So it's pretty cut and clear. If he can get a decent iron week, I think he can be right there at $6,900. 22nd in bogey avoidance also. I like that this week at that price. Bubble boy for me is Strillman. Talked a little bit on him last week. Had him in some of the flyers, potential plays, stuff like that. So I had sprinkles of him. Did well, a 9th, and that's coming off of 18th at Wells Fargo. Pretty good history here. 13th, 41st, 4th, 54th, and 13th. Stats are just okay, right? At $6,700 though, that's good enough for me, especially with the history here. And he's got a top 15 here since the renovation. All strong enough things with the good recent form coming in that I don't mind some Strillman this week. Only reason he's a bubble boy is just, some of the stat stuff doesn't, he's 87th in good drive. So that's some of the stuff I'll look at and kind of look at how he did here. We'll see that in the deep dive tonight. And it could even put it over the top or make you pause. We'll see how it all looks. Fade of the week for me right now is Rory. I just would rather pay up for Rahm, Scheffler, pay down for Cantley, Xander right now at that price. I know, he's mixed results as of late. I get that, but you get what you get with him. And I think, he's still peak. If he peaks, he can do really, really well. And he's okay since 2018 here. 8th, miscut, 32nd, 18th, 18th. Just that price point, I probably rather, I just like the other guys better. There's nothing negative about it, but you got to fade someone up there. He's definitely, him, Morikawa are probably the two. Morikawa has had some good results here. He just looks a little off. He was the fade of the week last week. 29th, he was okay, but I don't think that's going to get it done. Both those are strong candidates to be full phase this week for me. Sleeper of the week, got her up. Man, we hadn't said that name in a while. Been playing really well outside of here. Gets a spot this week. I guess the only caution there would be, one of the times we were playing him, we thought really no one would be on him. And he blew up that week to be like some crazy ownership. 6,200 again. Limited stats for him, but, second in par 4, 4th in opportunities, 5th in bogey avoidance, 21st in good drives. We know it comes down to the irons for him for the most part. If he has those going, he's going to hit the ball well off the tee. He putts decent enough. At that price, I don't think he's going to get talked up like he has before. I just like him in general. Obviously, played his last year at OU, so we'll see how he does this week. But hopefully, if he blows up big ownership, then probably not. But I do like him in general. Gut feel plays for me. I like Wyndham Clark. Blew up a bunch of people's lineups at PGA, which helped me because he was a fade of mine. But miscut 37th here. So that, the last year he's done better. I don't hate that. I just think we may get good leverage this week if people still have, that memory of what he did to him at the PGA. Spieth, good pricing, good history here. 13th, 7th, 13th, 18th, 18th. We saw him miscut last week. I don't know how much of it was a wrist, but again, I still think he would take the week off if it was that big of a deal, knowing he's going to play this week and he's going to play the U.S. Open in 2 weeks. So the pricing is good where I don't need him to win, and I think he can play well. It'd just be what side of the ownership shows up. Everybody goes, I'll take a chance on Spieth, or is it still, man, I'm not going to risk it with the injury, especially here. You get thicker rough, tough course. I can see both sides of it. If he's owned it all, then I don't want much Spieth. But if we're going to get a good discount, he's a guy I potentially don't mind going to. Thigala, is a guy I like. I didn't think he would do as well as he has here, 32nd and 5th, just because he has a tendency to spray it. But he can, he's 13th, par 4. Stats are just all average, but he's played great here for 2 years. 20th in the putting. Enough there at that price. I don't mind some Thigala this week. Keith Mitchell, also pretty good here. Hasn't played great as of late. Two made cuts, but 59th, 58th, so hadn't done much. 7th in good drive, 6th in good approach is really solid, though. He missed a cut his first year here, then 48th, 22nd, and 18th last year. So he's another guy that I kind of got my eye on there. Betting top 5, betting top 5 and 2 long shots. Links in the description. Dollar for dollar match up to $100. GUP, GUP. Do price picks every day. Put them out on the site, or I'll release the first ones on the final pod tomorrow. And then I put out nightly ones. Not the best week last week on Price Pick. After coming off a pretty good streak of some pretty good weeks, but not last week. Underdog has all their big NFL best balls up. They'll have weekly PGA stuff that sometimes struggle to fill. It's good leverage to get in there and check those out. Either one of them, you can use GUP and get dollar for dollar match up to $100. My top 5: Hatton 30, Fowler 35, Siwoo 50, Tom Kim 50, Matsu 35. 2 long shots I like right now: Benny On 100 to 1, and then Sam Stevens 200 to 1. Probably more of like a top 20 bet, but those are the 2 I got my eye on early. Preliminary one and done: Hatton, Xander, Matsu, Cantley, Fowler. Like I said, we'll have E9 tomorrow night with Kenny, be an elevated week. So come join us in there. Links in the description if you want to go check out the site. Join us. Structured all the pricing stuff a few months ago. Really affordable to get in there for a week, month, try it out. Great month to join with all the good tournaments we still have coming up. And our $200 U.S. Open winner, he's KM in Slack, and his username was MorgK031. So hit me up. It could be a girl, so he or her, or him or her. You'll get a $200 single entry ticket at the PGA Championship. Is $100,000 the first for that contest. So I like those contests, especially for people that may not play them all the time, because you're not getting outnumbered, putting one bullet in something that's going to have 150 max for most people, or a lot of the people. So your mono, everybody gets one lineup in it. It's probably going to have close to that 100,000 again up top. So hit me up. I will get you that once we get to the U.S. Open week. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. I'll be a little later on the deep dive this week. I've got a pretty busy afternoon trying to close the month out, and then be back tomorrow, and then Kenny tomorrow night. Have a good Tuesday. We'll talk to you soon.